All right. Hey, welcome back to King City Conversations. My name is Chesley Lunday. I am ready to go today. As you can tell, I'm here back in my garage because, hey, even though we're moving, we are still going to be here for you. So it's awesome. You get to see all the wonderful junk in the background. I'm here with Sydney Erickson. How you doing, Sydney?
I'm good. I still have the prettiest background. So I have not won an episode yet, but I win every episode for prettiest background.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Derek, what do you got to say for yourself, bro?
I'm envy for the garage life, my friend. I dig it. I like the vibe.
Yeah. It's junk chic. I think that's what we're calling it. Junk chic. It's gonna be a new wave in feng shui and design soon, I'm sure. Christian Lunday, last but least. No, I'm just playing.
Well, I can appreciate good things. Chesley's not one of them, but this intro music is a banger. Let's go.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I can say that because he's my brother. So, my little brother. When I say little, I mean young and little. But
In short, yeah. Don't lie. Jesus is watching.
Yeah, that is true. That is sorry, Jesus. So we are getting in the groove today. Let's see we've done 2 episodes. Christian's got 1 win. Derek's got 1 win. Sydney's bringing up the rear.
Twice.
Yeah, it's been second twice. She's in the finals. Maybe she can make the jump today. I don't know. All right. We are talking today about topics that Christians like to ignore. And so we're going to talk about New Age spirituality, New Age beliefs. Are you guys ready to go?
Yeah, just
sure am.
ready to talk about New Age beliefs. Let's do it.
Derek is really, ready.
Yeah.
As ready as a great afternoon nap. That's how ready he is. Let's talk about the rules, okay? We're going to have to do the rules today because this is definitely a topic that church doesn't want to talk about, right? So here's how you gain points. You got to make a good argument. Number 2, you got to ask good questions. Ask for understanding or for cross-examination purposes. That's definitely going to happen today. Maintain a civil atmosphere. Civil. And make jokes, zingers that don't violate the below rules, which are don't be degrading, don't be derogatory, don't have crass, mean jokes that we have to bleep out on television, and don't have bad arguments. And last but not least, don't be heretical. All right. First question for today. Is astrology bad? Is astrology bad? Who wants to go first?
I think it depends on your degree of commitment to astrology. Like, me personally, if I see like one of those posts online where it's like, oh, the different signs as trees, I'm absolutely going to check and see like what an Aries is. And if it's a tree I don't like, I will be offended. But I'm not putting any stock into like, oh, like you based on Mercury and Venus, you should do this month. I don't believe in that, but I do think it's kind of fun to see how the world classifies you. And I think I have friends who are really into astrology, and it is interesting to like talk to them about it and like be like, oh, well, like based on this and this, that means you're this, and kind of use it as a way to self-reflect. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think if you are using it to make your decisions, that's probably unwise.
Awesome. Derek, you got anything about astrology?
I mean, would that make me unwise or would that be wrong or bad? I mean, I think that's like where we're at, right? So I so just want to do like the hot take mic drop and be like, no, you shouldn't. It's just bad. But I feel like that's never good enough because there's so many things that could be thrown back our way where it's like, well, yeah, but how do you know or why do you care? So I think the reliance on anything outside of the truth or God and his direction would be inadvisable. But I don't know. Like, I'm trying to take like a neutral stance here. I can see it from where some people are like, okay, yeah, that's a way to dictate my life. I would say judging your life by the stars is not the best way to go. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Christian, what do you got?
Oh man, I'm gonna take the mic drop moment here
I knew you
because
would.
I think Chesley knows me too well. I think it's bad logically to follow astrology in terms of measuring your personality. I think that's highly illogical and silly. I saw something about Greta Thunberg and Kyle Rittenhouse being born on the same day. So, but they couldn't be two. There couldn't be more opposites of people than those two. And I think they would have the same astrological sign, I believe, and
They
that should kind of
would. They
raise some
would,
red
but it's
flags.
a bit more complicated than that.
Okay,
Oh, is
well,
it?
yeah.
So
Explain.
okay, I don't know a whole lot, but like yes, there's your basic sun sign, which is the one that everyone like talks about when they're like, "Oh, I'm a Cancer," and that is like divided into months. And then there's also your moon sign, which is based on like I think where the moon is, and your ascending sign, and that's based on like where you were born and the time you were born. So they may have been born on the same day, but because they were born at like different times at different places, the like constellations are at slightly different points. So like this aspect of their personality may be the same according to astrology, but these things would be different because they have a different moon and ascending sign.
Well, that's still silly. And speaking of cancers, Derek, I just wanted to let you know that we care deeply about you, and you know, I just wanted to say that and get that out of the way as far as being a cancer.
We're
Anyways,
gonna get canceled over
I
cancer,
Wow.
yeah, next time I should remember to wear pink or something for
right? Right.
Derek. I think that even giving those nuanced views of astrology, it's still terrible. It's still a bad way to measure personalities. It's still overgeneralized. Not to mention astrology didn't make us. Astrology doesn't determine our DNA. Those are made by God. God is the one who molds us together and shapes us and gives us personalities, passions, and things we like to do, and skills and talents. It's not astrology. uh, the stars dictating our personalities, I just think overall is silly. And there is an argument to be made
But
about astrology being heretical and a
Right.
false idol.
Okay, I was going to say the question isn't is astrology accurate, which I think we can all agree it's not. It's is it bad? And I don't think so. I just kind of think it's a silly, dumb little way to think about yourself.
Well, I think it's bad. I think it's a very careful form of idolatry in terms of worshiping creation that determines your personality, and I think that's where things get really tricky. And I also think it's bad as just a bad way to determine your personality.
I
All
think my
right, Derek, you
patience
got
is
to
in
jump in
retrograde.
here.
Yeah. I think my patience is in retrograde here, Sydney. I don't think we're going to be able to follow suit. I need to allow the seasons to change before I can keep up with
Mm.
just being able to go along with it. I can't do it. I have to wait for my stars to align for me to be able to say, okay, yeah, I can participate in this conversation without losing my mind. I don't know. Like it for me, like the two strongest types of arguments for like most things usually goes to either like an extreme naturalistic way where it's like, okay, yeah, you can go to a very empirical type of scientific approach to this and be able to be like, okay, yeah, absolutely. Whether it be natural selection or genetics, anything else like that Christian was saying too. Or you go to kind of um, a intrinsic truth, just as about like how the universe that we know is through either truth of scripture or just again through observable evidence that we have. So it's like, okay, the fact that Mercury is on the wrong side of the sun, and I was born in October, and the fact that it's a waxing moon right now guarantees the fact that I'm going to stub my toe and probably wreck my car today. I should just stay in bed. Like I don't think there's much you can go off there and be like, yeah, that's a really good way to lead one's life.
Is that a
Right.
caricature of New Age spirituality, though?
No, I'm just being extremely facetious.
I know you're being facetious, but is that obviously when those of us that don't follow that seems to be a little less nuanced and more generalistic, and even somewhat a caricature of maybe what New Age spirituality is.
I have a question for Christian, because I know Derek will hate this. But do you remember when we had a discussion a couple nights ago about our Hogwarts houses and kind of like
Oh,
like our
gosh.
personalities and like how that comes into play?
Derek's a Ravenclaw.
Yes,
Spare
he
me.
is. I feel like this isn't any different. Like, yes, it is like kind of based in like a system of magic, but if you don't believe it's real and you're just kind of using it to like reflect on yourself a little, how is it any different than me being like, oh, I'm a Gryffindor and I see it in these traits of myself? I could do the same and be like, oh, I'm an Aries and I do relate in these ways, but not in these ways.
I have an answer that I think will be sufficient. So the Hogwarts, the magic hat that places people in the Hogwarts houses, that's not the hat determining personalities by the stars that they were born. It's a hat being put on a person and gathering information about that person through magical means and putting them in a house with other people that are similar to them. Whereas astrology, he just thinks it's utter nonsense. It's a whole debate. It's funny
That's
though.
why I didn't ask him.
I know. Whereas astrology, I feel like it goes too far at that point. So while I do think my more nuanced view would be like, well, it's kind of funny to do if your heart is in the right place and you know the boundaries that God sets out for us and where our value and personality comes from, because we weren't made by stars, we were made by Jesus. Well, then whatever. Do what your heart's content. If you find astrology funny and nonsensical, but you still read up on it, I don't know. But in a total means, I think astrology is bad, and it determining personalities for people and measuring parts of what they're going to do as far as their future is concerned. That's when we start crossing a line, a moral line, in my opinion, about what is really sovereign in the universe. Is it a gathering of stars on a particular day, or is it God?
Okay,
Yeah,
so do you find more credence, Christian, in Hogwarts? What do you call it? Classifications versus New Age astrology?
Well, sure, because one is a glorified personality test, and one crosses the line of being a personality test to being a personality maker, and that's where I draw the line.
I'll give you points for that one. I was gonna like drop you points because of the fact that you said you put more stock in Hogwarts. I'm like, if you think they're both ridiculous, they're both ridiculous. But if you don't,
I never said they both weren't ridiculous, but one crosses the line of being bad, and one doesn't cross that line.
And your moral interpretation of it.
Yes, my subjective moral justification. Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Second question. All right. I want to give some context for this. So Eastern religions are part of what makes American New Age spirituality. I see New Age spirituality as very much a hodgepodge of paganism, a hodgepodge of Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, Confucius philosophy, Buddhism. And so as we look at New Age beliefs, you have a continuum and even a coagulation of Eastern religions making up New Age spirituality here in the States. Aren't Eastern religions basically the same as Christianity? Derek, what do you think, man?
No. But here's probably why in a lot of different. I think like the end goal is in many cases, and pretty much all cases, it's different. So like I would say as far as what a lot of people align with is like the idea of virtues, right? So the biggest thing that comes to me, especially with like Buddhism, maybe in particular, would be like temperance and self-control versus hedonism and just kind of allowing one to be consumed by one's pleasures. I mean, that inherently is something that a Christian should be able to subscribe to. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit. But it's the reasons as to why is where you get the separation. So I won't attest or even continue too far into Buddhism because one, I'm not a Buddhist, and two, not that knowledgeable, to be quite honest. But as far as my context and just knowing what self-control is for Christianity, it's for the sake of our worship and love for Jesus and for one another, as we're becoming more Christ-like in a degree to where we're being sanctified and transformed, but not to our own end to reach some type of end goal of nirvana or anything else like that for our own sake or wholeness, but because we are living in a constant worship of the fact that we're a reflection of God and being an image of God. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my take, but I don't know.
We should do a bonus episode on with a Buddhist. I studied Buddhism in college. It was actually quite entertaining and fun, and eye-opening and enlightening as well. So I think maybe I should, give a shout out to my professor and maybe see if he wants to come on the show and do a bonus episode. We can talk about it. Sydney, what do you think? Are Eastern religions basically the same as Christianity?
I think so. Last semester, I took a class looking at the history of violence in religion.
Okay.
And a lot of religions kind of have a same origin point where it's like they start out being very like for peace and like let's treat people with kindness and equality. And then over time, as new religion A pops up and people group B start to attack them, then religion A starts to have texts that are like, oh, but it's okay to defend yourself. And over time, like it kind of turns into like, oh, and so now to defend ourselves, we must go on the offensive. And so I do think there are some similarities in the fact that like Christianity is very like kind of peace forward and like people loving forward. I do think there are some major differences. A lot of Eastern religions don't have like a singular central figure that is divine like Christ. Ooh, got so excited I hit the computer.
That's fair.
And I think, yeah, that class was pretty interesting. Man, I hit the computer and I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, Christianity is very different in the fact that it does this roller coaster thing. So it does have a very violent era in it.
Right. And one thing that kind of stood out to me is it seems that in this might be a tangent, but that people seeking power will kind of use whatever means necessary to achieve their goal. And so if they have to, like find their own justifications or write their own justifications into their religious texts so they can then motivate people to do what they want.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Christianity is unique to that. But I do think, kind of getting back to the question, on a surface level, like very, very surface, there are a lot of similarities between the Eastern religions or philosophies and Christianity, especially in terms of how we should treat people. But once you start looking at like the actual belief system and the worldview and like how the world came into being, they become very different right away.
Yeah. Christian, what do you think, man?
I don't think Eastern philosophies / religions are the same as Christianity. One, because I'm going to take the similar route of the Chinese Communist government, and one of their key laws is anything that subverts their state power, they censor. We won't censor, but we can determine what's different if it subverts a notion about Christianity, which is Jesus is God. He's the Messiah. He came in a 100% human form, 100% God form to take on the sins of the world and propitiate or be our substitute sacrifice so that he can impugn righteousness to us at the end of the age when he returns and he exacts his judgment. So he is God, and there's this divine recognition of who he is, and every other religion or philosophy that subverts the identity of Christ is subverting Christianity and is objectively not the same. So things like Buddhism, Hinduism, those all subvert Christianity's main tenet that Jesus is God and there's no one above him or other than him. Are there similar things, like similar mystic things that happen in the Bible that people try and replicate in today's world. Yeah, there people try to talk to the dead. That happened in the Old Testament. People do a bunch of weird stuff that happened in the OT, and in some cases the New Testament. But that doesn't mean that it's the same religion as Christianity, because Christianity has closed-fisted beliefs. The most important one being Jesus of the Bible is God, and there's no one above him. There's no other God. It's only Jesus. And when you acknowledge something like that, anything that tries to contradict it is subversive to the tenets of Christianity and therefore is not the same.
Cool. Derek, you got anything else to add, bud?
No, I mean, of course I agree with Christian. I think he's entirely right. I feel like with a lot of where the hang up is with people who profess faith and find themselves in these types of circles or communities, it is the overlap. As Sydney was saying, and it was just with many other offshoots of mainstream Christianity or anything else like that. It's like the nuances, it's the semantics, it's the small things where people get hung up and we're like, well, that's this. Why is this bad when it came from here? And it's the exact same from where I see from, you know, Philippians 4 or like Romans 6 or something else like that. By semantic standards, where you get hung up by the fact where it's like, okay, I'm trying to live my best life. How can that be incongruent with living that way and then also coming alongside submitting to Jesus? And it's really not until you really do a lot of self-reflection where you can dig in and start saying, it's like, oh, wow, this is so much above inner peace or just internal happiness. No, this is a marching call to submit and to serve and to build a glorious kingdom of love and peace for all, because we love and serve under a king that saved us from ourselves. I think that is indistinguishable from anything else. Like, you're not going to find a comparison.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, we are done with round 2. Let's see what we got. And
dang it.
It looks like oh, Derek. All right, buddy.
No.
Derek, man, what do you got to say for yourself, man?
I mean,
yeah, we don't care. All right, we are to number 3. It's a reaction video. Take a look here. It's a little bit fun. We're gonna have a conversation about John Lindell and his remarks.
It is idol worship. For example, the body positions, and there are several. I give you just a couple of them. The sun salutation. These are the poses: the mountain pose forward, crescent lunge, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. The salutation is meant to greet the sun and is used as a way to celebrate and worship the Hindu sun god, Surya, who gives health and immortal life. That's what all of those are doing. You're welcoming the sun god, you're greeting the sun god, you're paying homage to the sun.
Nice. Okay, so reaction to the video. All I could say first for myself is, I wish to God I could bend like that. I cannot. I need to be a little bit more flexible and get in the gym. All right, Christian, go first.
Sure. So I think that take is ludicrous, pretty much, by John Lindell, because he said all yoga is bad and demonic. That sermon went viral for that reason and made national news. But here's the problem with what he said about yoga. So God is like the ultimate omnipotent EKG. He monitors the heart. He looks at the heart. When you're doing yoga, are we going to tell athletes who are trying to be more flexible to perfect their craft that they're committing some abominable sin by worshiping the sun god? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous and ludicrous. God monitors the heart. He knows if I'm trying to worship the sun god and be ridiculous, and he knows when I'm trying to stretch my body, meditate on his word while I'm doing yoga, which is possible. He knows my heart whenever I'm doing these things, and to say otherwise is kind of ridiculous. And I kind of agree with the backlash that he got, because I thought, that's kind of silly to say yoga being demonic and being a worship of the sun gods. Sure, its origination might have, came from those, but we have a lot of things that Christianity has kind of imperialized, for lack of a better term, and made it their own, that aren't bad at all.
Right. I completely agree. I feel like if we are to stop doing yoga because it has like origins in worshiping the sun god, then we should stop celebrating Christmas in December because that has origins in the Saturnalia in Rome. Or we need to stop singing songs that use the phrase Yuletide because that comes from pagan religions. I agree. I think it's just the dumbest take. Like, I kind of honestly think it might, if it's worshiping anything, it might be worshiping God, because God gave me this body and I I am to take care of it. I am to do, oh God, what's the term? I can't remember, but I am to do, it is a resource he has given me and I need to do the best I can to take care of it and continue to help it and to multiply the benefits it can bring. And so one way I can do that is by doing yoga to stretch out my lower back so I'm not constantly crippled by back pain. And if God gave me a body that I am to use and can do all these amazing things, then aren't I worshiping him by using it the way he intended to,
Yeah.
like Christian said, to become better in either my athleticism or just my health?
I feel like Tobey Maguire, after Spider-Man 2, really needed to do some yoga to fix his back problem. I feel like that might have helped him fight crime better.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I gotta throw this in here. I love what Sydney just said, and I'm thinking, did you know the majority of the hymns that classical liturgists sing in their church services were originally bar songs? So
Oh.
are we worshiping what is it, Dionysus? That was the
Dionysus?
god.
God of
Yeah,
that.
he was the god of partying and drunkenness, and I don't know. It's just a thought.
Bacchus is his Roman name. So
What is it?
Bacchus is the Roman name, and then Dionysus is the
This is a
Greek.
Greek name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
It's been a little while. It's been a little while. Haven't been in school in almost 20 years. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
It
Yeah.
shows.
Oh, and he loses points for that one.
No.
Sydney, you are the winner. Look at that. Yeah. All right. You get 30 unadulterated seconds.
All right.
Let's go.
Here is my hot take on astrology and Christianity. Astrology is just the non-Christian version of the Enneagram. Every time I tell a story, my Christian friends will be like, oh my gosh, you're such an 8. That's why you're acting this way. I say in front of my non-Christian friends, oh my gosh, you're such an Aries. That's why you're acting this way. That's my take. That's all I got to say. Thank you. It was wonderful to win. To the gentlemen, haha, losers. It's because it wasn't written in the stars.
Oh, snap. She just went there. She just went there. Well, I am excited to end this, third episode of the KingCity Conversations. We're going to be back next time with females in ministry. It's a pretty big topic that, Christians have a problem with, and I'm sure you non-Christians, you want to see us fight about it. So let's have fun with this next topic. I know Sydney is gearing up for war. All right, we will see you next week for Derek, Sydney, Christian. My name is Chesley. I'm your host of KingCity Conversations. I feel like I need to do a little Tony Reale paper toss, but I don't got paper, so we're not going to do that. We will see you next time on KingCity Conversations.